In a podcast, no one can hear you scream. Two spooky boys arm their crossbows and prepare to hunt monsters. Sink your fangs into this new season as we explore the world of monsters in film. From aliens to werewolves, these brothers are getting grim and cooking up some good new content. You may have heard a howl in the distance, but you haven't heard from us. Not us, united. You know what? I wish I had my top hat. I shouldn't say my top hat because I don't have one.
Yeah, sure. Nick doesn't own a top hat. If all the people in my life that would have a top hat, you're up there on the list.
Yeah, I think one day I will.
I think you already do.
I don't know if at this age I can pull off a top hat.
Well, okay, so you're wearing the little, like, beanie cap. What's it called? The little London
Scally
cap?
cap?
Scally cap.
Yeah.
That's just the next step, you know?
Yeah, I'm definitely getting there.
Yeah.
I'm upgrading.
So, like, every year just gets a little higher of a height.
Either that or I'll start wearing, like, vests that maybe have, like, a pattern that tries to match said scally cap, and then maybe, like, a pocket watch with the chain out.
Oh, yeah.
And then this could deviate. It could go two separate ways. You could go full gentleman, get, like, some suits, perhaps, you know, old school tobacco, pipe, that sort of. Or I could go fantasy route, go with a steampunk, where maybe my accessories become a little more otherworldly or retro-futuristic. And if I ever go down that path, I want you to punch me in the face really hard.
There are two destinies, and one of them is a lot sweatier than the other one.
Yeah. But I wouldn't mind being a gentleman that wears, like, nice suits all the time.
I think
You got to, like, ease into it.
Yeah, you can't just be like next day.
Yeah.
I feel like that's always been a desire just burning deep inside me, but I'm also too lazy to have fashion.
Interesting.
Except for the drip we got on right now, let me tell you
That's true. We do got some new drip.
Yeah.
It ain't drowning.
Ain't drowning unless we're drowning in the drip.
Drowning in the drip.
Okay,
That's right.
yeah,
That's right. That's right. Yeah, we're fly.
Yeah.
I've got new shirts. I don't know. If you guys want some, reach out. Maybe.
Yeah, hit us up. Hit us up. You know how it is.
But no. In honor for us to come back, I thought it'd just give us a little pep in our step.
Yeah. I've never felt so cozy. A long sleeve tee.
A little extra blood in the veins.
Yeah. Oh,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. I also want to paint the picture to everyone else that is not. It is a crime that we are not recording this episode because the drip that my man has on right now.
That's right.
I walk into his home. He welcomes me in like a good guest so that I may actually enter the premises.
Correct.
Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to enter. You know how it is.
And I couldn't suck your blood.
Yeah, exactly. And he turns around slowly, and he's got the tinted red shades on, and he just says, "You do your accent."
Welcome, Glison Algaib, to my humble castle.
Yeah.
Of Transylvania.
I think we just need to redo this whole episode with us recording because you just look like Gary Oldman.
That's fine. I'll come back.
Yeah.
I'm here.
This Dracula character is coming back.
I want to be a character as much as possible, so this is just a nice warm-up.
Well, you're the main character in my life.
I feel like, too, it'll help me channel all the positive vibes that come from this movie.
Okay.
So we'll see.
I'm excited to see what those positive vibes are.
All right, so
let's actually say what we're talking about.
Let's get a little just
Nick, what movie are we talking about this week?
Sure. So part 2 of our Monsters in Film series is going to be about Bram Stoker's Dracula. Came out
1992.
the year of my birth. 1992.
Wow.
Probably just before I was born. I
Happy
didn't see when it
birthday.
actually released.
Yeah.
Maybe it was a Halloween movie. I don't know. We'll see.
Maybe it's a little, yeah. Maybe you're older than the movie.
Maybe. Well, I'll tell you what. I didn't watch it when it came out in theaters.
Oh, really?
I'll tell you that much.
I would really hope not. Not the best movie for a 1 to 2 month old to see.
Or, anyone under 15.
Yeah.
17. I don't know.
I don't know. I'm 28. I was a little.
This was like the last hurrah of just crazy, like, 80s hype films.
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah. It definitely is of the era. And I can, I don't know what encapsulates that best, but I think I'm just curious
Yeah.
I didn't know
Neither
what
did
this
I.
movie
Yeah.
entailed.
I picked it because it was named after the novel,
Yes.
whereas the other takes on it were much more just the vampire, like,
Oh, what
widow's
if a Dracula?
peak,
Yeah.
I wear a tuxedo and I can turn into a bat.
Yeah.
Like, very just like traditional, that's Dracula.
Mm-hmm.
And I this doesn't have to be, this is the only iteration of Dracula
Sure.
to discuss. But given its cast, given that it's kind of a cult, like, classic,
Yeah.
I thought this was a good place for us to go because there are parts of it that are very true to the novel, even though
Yes.
some of it kind of goes a little
Have you read the book before?
I haven't read all of it.
Okay, got it.
I got to a part that I'll explain
What?
without spoilers. I'll explain.
Okay.
I just didn't want to like say it this early in the podcast.
Sure, that's fair. That's fair.
But anyway,
So you wanted to get like, I feel like this is, whenever I hear of Dracula, like if you got to see
Yeah.
a Dracula, this feels like the Dracula movie because it's based
Yes.
off of, when you say Bram Stoker, I mean, that's the author of the original Dracula. He's like the guy. And so to put that name on a Dracula movie,
right.
you're putting a lot of weight behind it.
Yeah, and I mean it's people whose careers we can still kind of speak to, whereas if we were to kind of tackle one of the early,
Yeah,
you know,
like a black and
whatever.
white. Yeah,
Although this movie in black and white could have been pretty cool.
could have been lit.
Could have been sweet.
Yeah.
There's also something weirdly old school about it as well. For this being a 90s film, it still feels like it's almost paying homage
Yeah.
to older
That's a
ways
good
of
point.
filming.
Yeah.
I believe through very little research that I did today, everything was done on a sound stage.
It looks like it.
So
yeah.
it's very like, it's almost like they filmed a play.
Yeah, and I think it looks like. I mean, to its credit, I think it does look good. And I think it is. The like sets are really well done. It feels real. It feels like a real lived-in world. That's not the qualms I have with the movie.
No, I understand. I understand. Yeah, if I were to do an IMDb Parents Guide view right before this, I would have maybe pumped the brakes a little bit and been like, "Oh wait, I didn't know there was going to be all of that."
Yeah,
But
I still
I'm
enjoy
glad
watching
I watched
this movie.
100%.
I will say, don't be like me and put it on your phone while you're at work.
like looking behind your back the whole
Like,
time.
wait. And I was like 30 minutes in, I watched a little bit. I was like, okay, cool, great. I have usually at work I can like watch something or like listen to something and like do some stuff on my computer. And so I put it on my phone. I was watching it, and then bang! It was like all of a sudden we're in some not safe for work material. I'm like, oh no, wait, it's for a podcast. It's for.
Did anybody catch you?
Not that I know of, but I hear from HR soon.
That's insane. We'll have to do a follow up on that.
Yeah,
Hopefully you didn't get fired.
I know.
But I mean, for the podcast.
Yeah,
you know, it is what it is.
It's for the pod. You know,
Always, bro.
Always. Yeah, I agree. I think this is overall, to go back to like why watch this movie. I think this is maybe not the most honoring or the most like same as the book, but I think it is a good adaptation.
Yeah.
And it is more like, it is a 90s adaptation of Dracula.
Yeah, and it's an interesting take on Dracula as well, because there's a lot of shape-shifting that takes place. There's a lot of, I would say that this Dracula lines up more with like demon more than just
like Dracula.
purely the classic vampire. That's like,
I agree.
you know what I mean? There are parts where he looks just like the, white, like the white powdered face
Yes,
with like the fangs and everything. Like he can pull that off, but he is truly like a master of disguise because of how beast-like he has become.
Yeah.
So I think I like that take, and I think it allows us to have a deeper discussion about Dracula the monster.
Yes, I agree.
That maybe isn't as stereotypical as people would find.
Yeah.
It. So that's why I think it's important to talk about it, because if this is an adaptation, this is a canon version of a Dracula, then I wanted to talk about it.
Yeah, and I feel like from other media that we've seen, it's like, okay, I understand what a Dracula can look like. I understand, like, okay, he's a vampire. He needs like, he only comes out at night, blah blah blah. But this is like also like that's not the original like design of what Bram Stoker's was, or like other Dracula interpretations. So this feels like it's returning to like, okay, here's like the clean cut version of a Dracula, but like like I don't know, some more twists onto it where it feels like, okay, they are interpreting it their own way. And I kind of like the more demonic version, where it's like leaning into that.
There's almost like a remnant of his past human self that almost is still at his core. Yeah. So he's still very much monster, but underneath all of it is still just a wounded man. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so there is a level to that that's fun.
For lack of a better term, he's being humanized in this monster. And it's like, okay, are we going to see this in other monster movies? I mean, to compare it to Aliens, it's like there is no humanization in that monster. Like, this is a monster who was human, and like it was all for like love, right? And so to like not spoil it, but like if it's someone who like you see at least somewhat the progression of his character and his humanity in a sense.
Exactly. You've kept an incredibly straight face while I've looked at you in sunglasses.
Yeah,
and I just wanted to say I respect you.
Yeah, thank you. I think I think it's added to the character,
and I hope you're doing.
I hope I'm looking in the right direction. Nick is just staring at a wall. It's very confusing.
Yeah, it's wild.
And I respect you for leaving them on the whole time, right?
Oh, for sure.
Oh, okay, cool.
These aren't coming on.
I think it adds to the atmosphere.
I may fall asleep.
It actually. Oh yeah, I'm just gonna talk to myself. It actually adds to the atmosphere where I just see Gary Oldman.
All right.
Constantly, I'm like, oh, I'm talking to a Dracula. It actually puts me at ease more, and it actually gives me motivation to do the podcast.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. So let's get into this. Spoilers and everything.
You want straight up spoilers?
Well, I just meant like we've talked around it.
Yes, sure.
Let's
just get into it. If you haven't seen 1992's Bram Stoker's Dracula,
let's do it.
Like, here it is.
Yes, exactly. Okay. I gotta say, the first 10 minutes of this film,
hard.
Damn.
Yeah, that's
nice.
I was hooked. I was hooked, dude.
Nice.
And I'm like, that's cinema, baby.
That was, that was incredible.
Yeah, that's the best 10 minutes of the movie, hands down.
Vlad's armor.
Yeah. Oh my god.
10 out of 10.
Are you kidding me?
Would like to buy that as a cosmetic in any video game.
Yeah. Please.
I need that armor. Just the incredible. I mean, I've never seen someone renounce like God and then drink blood that's coming out of a fountain, and then just, I mean, I know it's very specific, but like
I've never seen this.
There's
life.
Something about that scene that was just like, okay, that's how you start a movie.
Yeah. Oh yeah, like I'm in.
There was something very I don't even like
gripping.
Holy crap! That was awesome.
Yeah, dude, he's like fighting like all these dudes. Yeah. He's like single-handedly taking on this army.
But like, it's really intense and yet simplistic. They're using like marionette, like puppets. Yeah. To like, I don't know how to explain this without it sounding really stupid.
It feels like a stage play. It feels like you can tell it's a stage play, but that doesn't like damper the fact that like this is a really great kind of like emotional action sequence. I think it was really well done. And I think the whole like Isabetta or Isabetta, whatever, like the whole.
And
like,
they kind of had actors and actresses play different characters to kind of show like a resemblance or a tie. Like you get Anthony Hopkins as the main priest at the beginning too. I don't know if that implies that he will eventually lead to a Van Helsing. I don't know.
Could be.
Or if it was just to be like fun because Anthony Hopkins.
There's some character dynamics. Yeah. But even there's points where like, just to jump way to the future, where it's like, it's Dracula and Anthony Hopkins. No, and like and they're like having they're like almost the staging looks very similar to what it was in that scene where he stabs the cross. So I think there's just some kind of like symmetry in that, which is really nice. I think it's Francis Ford Coppola, Mr. the Godfather.
Yep.
It's going to be staged really
Yeah.
well. But yeah, those first 10 minutes, incredible.
Mamma mia.
And the death of Isabetta. And
Yeah, kind of like Romeo and Juliet
Yeah,
style. They kind of tied it into that, except Vlad's still sticking around. So what's crazy too is that, he was fighting so much in the name of God, but then like the priest had to be like super sure to be like, dude, we know you're suffering, bro. I just want to let you know your wife's probably damned to hell, like forever.
like, dude,
And you're just like, hey, maybe like not right
maybe
now.
like tone it down.
Let's read the room.
Tone it down a little bit.
Read the room.
Look, we don't want like
For sure, damnation.
we don't want like
on her
1,000
soul.
gallons of blood like coming out of the walls or something. Like this cross for some reason has a lot of
Yeah.
blood in it.
Yeah.
There's so much blood in it.
So much fun.
Like it's probably your like wife's blood, but just putting it out there,
Let's just
there's a lot of blood in this room right now.
But there was just something. It's like in that moment, out of like his own. Have you ever seen a villain like not have an origin like catalyst that just involved themselves? Like the Joker, I fell into something,
Yeah.
or this guy, he got radioactive, whatever. This guy's just like, my wife died. I guess I'm a villain now.
Yeah.
just
It just went for
just
it.
goes off.
Well, yeah, he also sounded like he wasn't the greatest guy. He was like impaling people.
Okay, that's
Wait,
fair. Okay. Maybe he killed some people.
Yeah, but like, I mean, I guess there's like revenge villains, right?
Sure.
It's like my brother died.
Right.
Now it's time for me to get you.
No, I know, but I mean, he like got his powers by just
But
straight
just
up.
being like, I denounce
I'm
you. Yeah.
pissed.
Yeah, I'm done.
I am so pissed that I am now a
I'm a
demon.
villain. Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I am the devil's. Like
Yeah.
he basically
Was there a
became
reason,
the
like-
anti-Christ.
Yeah.
I
Do we
mean-
know how that really happened, or was it
No
just
idea.
like,
I think it was just theatrically. I don't even know why there would be blood that comes out of a stone.
yeah,
You know,
Bloodstone?
but it was cool.
It was very cool, and
You
like
know?
I was like, I guess he's Dracula
Yeah,
now.
and then he's drinking it, and it's just like I don't think that, and I'm sure like book wise, there's things that were probably like brushed over.
yeah, I don't think this is in the book
no,
at
that's
all.
not even
Yeah.
in the But that's one way to become a vampire. Let's
Yeah.
not even like it was before the time of like audiences needing to be spoon fed every
Yeah.
detail
Yeah,
of
yeah.
everything. And this movie is very just like
Oh,
fast.
yeah.
Like I mean, we're talking like Dracula becomes Dracula, and then I would say within about a minute and 30 seconds, Keanu Reeves is already in
In
Transylvania.
Dracula. Yeah, yeah.
it's like-
It's like, anyways, I'm Keanu Reeves and I'm walking into a castle.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah, and even I think particularly near the end, it's just like, and we're moving,
Oh, yeah.
and here now we're gonna get to this end sequence.
So there were parts that I mean it slowed down at times, but yeah, it didn't really hold up. It was just let's go.
Yeah.
Like, and I think it gave you enough to know. Like I don't need to be like, tell me what's going on with Jonathan Harker.
Yeah.
I really need to understand. Like no, let's figure this out.
Yeah.
Right after you just made me go, damn, that guy became Dracula. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
I kind of want to see what's going on with
Yeah,
it.
yeah. What, can we figure
I
out
don't
more
want
about
to.
Dracula?
I don't want to hear like nerdy law stuff.
And
Like, let's
anyways,
go.
I'm selling the account, and or what's my? And anyways, I'm selling the account, and then I go to Transylvania. Whoa! Someone get this man some land. Yeah, look, I'm just gonna say now, Keanu Reeves was
Okay.
not it.
Okay.
I'm sorry, my boy Keanu, love the
Hey.
man.
They needed some eye candy.
Well, the other guy, Gary Oldman, so.
I don't know, dude. Gary Oldman had a bad look for a lot of this movie. I mean, he looked badass, and a lot like even as an old man with Princess Leia hair.
Yeah.
And
Still pull it off, though.
pretty cool robe, pretty cool wardrobe, hairy palms. Like I don't know.
Hey, it gets the ladies, you know what I
true.
mean?
It's true. It does.
But what did you have Keanu defenses or?
No Keanu defenses. As a guy who read up until the point where Jonathan Harker was seduced by the vampiric
Oh, sure.
brides,
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, man, this guy's going to play a big role in this movie.
This guy's definitely the main character.
Wow. Where the hell did he go? For like an hour. I was like, did I miss something? And he's like,
Oh man, I'm back.
I'm barely alive. I'm getting sucked to death. And it's just like, wait, this is it?
Just writing a letter like, "Hey, I love you, Mina. anyways, a wild night. I'll tell you what.
But I think in the book he does kind of trail off too. So
yeah, and it kind of becomes like a Van Helsing story, honestly.
yeah,
Which
hey,
dude,
hell yeah,
yeah, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. But yeah, I feel like, yeah, I'm just Keanu wasn't it, man.
no, that's okay.
Yeah, but like
Whatever.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not.
I mean,
Do you even need like?
No,
If
you don't-
Jonathan Harker was like 50% better.
No, it doesn't
the
change.
movie
It doesn't change the film at all.
I don't know.
I don't change
think
that.
it does.
Yeah, no.
He just randomly has white hair sometimes. It's like, whoa, I'm old. And then like doesn't have white hair, or maybe it's just shot.
Should I go in this river? Yeah, and it's like, wait, is this guy Dracula? He climbed up that wall. I don't think I could do that.
That part in the book is phenomenal.
Yeah, that's so good.
And I felt like in the movie it was Dracula like, hey, I'm not a vampire, bro. Walks out of the room, immediately crawls down the ceiling. I'm just like, I think he's getting onto it, dude. I think he's catching on.
Yeah, in the book,
But that's because how fast they had to go.
they had to be
they're
like,
just like, hey, we got to
couldn't
go.
be like maybe Dracula.
Yeah.
because in the book it was like there was definitely more of a mystery. It's
Oh,
like,
dude.
is this guy like what is up with
They
this
took
guy?
their time.
Yeah,
in the book.
and it's a pretty short book still too. But in the movie, it's like, yeah, dude, this guy's Dracula.
However, with all that said, some parts that Keanu are in are some really particularly cool shots of the
Dracula.
shadow
Yes,
trickery
so
stuff.
good. So good.
The shadow like doing something malicious while he's just sitting in front, or maybe he's like, I'm expecting you to be on my left side, but he's actually on his right side. So you're like, they're not hiding away from the fact that there's something up with this dude. You know?
But I think like a lot of those, I think I enjoy the mystery of that more because I think some of my favorite shots are just that first interaction with Dracula. I think that those are incredible. Like with like he's turning and like there's the shadow there, and then like
But he's on the
Dracula's
other
behind him.
side.
So
Yeah.
good, very
cool.
good.
Very cool.
Also the line, "You're a man of good taste," coming from a Mr. Dracula.
Baller line.
Yeah, going hard. I think the first like 20, 30 minutes of this movie, I'm on board.
Okay.
And then like I think it really falls apart when they're like, look, probably after the sex scene where I almost got in trouble at work, but I think it does fall apart in like the London mystery and the London like, oh, is this Lucy girl a vampire? And I like some of that stuff, but I don't know. I feel like some of the connection
Right.
and the ultimate like we got to go back to Transylvania and fight Dracula. And I think particularly the ending is like I'm like, no.
Yeah, I got you.
So I think the movie was strong and then it tapered off in my mind.
Yeah.
So that's
I think where I'm at with it is I lose myself a little bit. There's this through line that you're like, maybe I'm somewhat barely sympathetic for Dracula because he might actually have a chance at like maybe being with his reincarnated wife.
Yeah.
Very cool. Like I get that. Like love can go beyond time or whatever. And that's kind of like what they're trying to discuss. But then he's also just kind of like, but I kind of want to just like bang everybody too. And you're just like, but
well,
like,
Lucy's here too.
It's like, okay, I get it. You're still like a demon. You're doing like heinous acts. I get it. But like at that part, I was like, okay, surely this will not end well for him, or surely Mina will like wake up from the trance, and this will not end where they're kind of almost like together at the end.
yes. It's like it's a tragedy. It's like played as a tragedy, and I'm like, I don't think I'm on board with that.
Right.
Yeah. Where it's
I
like
think by the time he's done, I'm kind of like, yeah, let's kill this guy.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really like. I'm not rooting for him.
Yeah.
And I think some people look at it as like, oh man, a hopeless romantic.
Yeah. Not really though.
And I don't
really-
I think some of
yeah.
those scenes didn't help him.
No.
For me.
Look, I want to say Dracula ain't got no riz.
I don't know, top hat, sunglass,
But it's like
a little bit.
Oh, where's the museum? And she's like, go away.
He had to pull some strings.
Yeah.
You know?
But I just think I don't think the him and Mina relationship really worked for me at all. It felt it felt almost like he was just manipulating her, and then
Yeah.
she was like, I love him. It's like, what? Why?
Are you under a trance or are you actually
exactly?
in love?
I thought for a long time it was just a trance thing. And it's like it could have been, and that's why he's like this villain.
Yeah.
But I still was like, I was never rooting for it.
Right.
I wasn't really rooting for her and Mr. Keanu.
True.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
Fair.
I just feel like that never really connected in my mind, and yeah,
I think they were just trying to dial into the sheer power of what he is capable of.
Sure.
And so I think it was more, the movie eventually just kind of became like, look at like the allure that even like, I mean, we even get at one point perhaps the strongest willed, like moral compass guy in the even has like a moment of weakness towards
Definitely.
the end. Still is able to fight it off, but like the whole point was that
no
like
one can be.
no one's strong enough on their own will,
Yeah.
and this is like a real force to be reckoned
Yeah.
with. Which then I think just kind of made it weird because you're almost like, man, how much of this is like reciprocated or just like a trance? And I do
Manipulation, yeah.
wonder if that's why at the very end she's able to push the dagger through and chop his head off, because in some ways she is like, I'm sad that you're dying. Part of me is sad that you're dying. As I know that you're dying, I'm Mina again, and I'm willing to do what needs to be
Really?
done. I thought it was her finally being like, "Nah, I'm back."
Yeah. Okay.
That's how I interpreted it.
Okay. I don't know. I thought it was like I also just had a big qualm with them like going all the way to Transylvania and then like stopping at the gate and be like, actually, we're good here. We can stop. And then that one guy died, but like we can end here and not like finish the job. And then Mina, like it's I guess with Keanu being like it's her job now. Like Mina had to kill Dracula. I guess I'm confused on that.
That's a good question. I
Yeah.
don't know why that had to happen. I thought it was more she was the lookout because she kind of had that like, she was the inside man.
Yeah,
like she kind of had
sure.
the connection to him. Because he wasn't really aware that she was even going to be at the castle, and then like he knew. It could have also just been a way to write in that they had to have the last moment together.
Yeah, sure.
Whatever.
And at the end, like Dracula asked Mina, like, "Oh, end it, like end my suffering."
Yeah, let's do
And
this,
so it's
yeah.
like, was he gonna die? Like he got the knife through the heart, like he was gonna die. And Mina was just finishing. I don't know. I just feel like that wasn't wrapped up nicely.
Yes, I agree.
And I don't need a nice ending
For sure.
Whatever.
Yeah.
But it just felt like, yeah, I'm not rooting for this.
Yeah, it's just hard when they throw everything at you.
Yeah.
And it's this very theatrical, lot of like the transitions, the camera
Yeah.
work. I mean,
Like,
everything's
I get
like,
the,
whoa.
I get the drama of it
Yeah,
all. I
this is
get the
crazy.
height of it.
It's
I get the
just
tragedy
dripping.
of it all.
Yeah,
But I'm
it's-
like,
yeah.
nah.
No, I agree. I feel like this was an experience.
Yes.
And not a perfectly written
Yes. Like
script.
it has holes, and I think it knows it has holes. And I think like me walking, I was pretty down on this movie when I finished. Like this is not great. But
Yeah.
even talking about it, I'm like, I actually enjoyed this movie more than I thought.
Right.
And I think knowing where it goes and
Yeah.
knowing like what it wants to be,
Yeah.
I like it more.
Yeah. I think what makes it stay as like this cult classic is I can't compare it to any other movie that I've watched. There's something just about it that's like, I can't say it's just campy. I can't say it's just, oh, you know what it's like this.
Yeah.
It is very different, and I think that's what makes it stand out.
Yeah.
It's its greatest strength, but it will hinder it from ever becoming, I think, like,
A 10 out of 10 movie, like the
Yeah,
greatest movie.
it's not a
It's
perfect
wholly
movie.
unique,
Yeah.
and that's why people love it,
Yeah.
or you hate it.
yeah.
And I think overall, like, I really respect the movie.
Yeah.
And I enjoy vast parts of it, and I really actually want to watch it again because
Nice.
I feel like I would probably like it more.
Yeah.
Though it is probably the horniest movie of all time.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to have to deal with that side of monsters going forward.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I'm trying to think. I don't think any of the movies I picked would have something like. But I mean, vampires inherently have always
Always
had
been.
that.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's what was super different about this was vampire isn't just this like stalker who's a bat, but perhaps somebody who also has like the allure of like.
Sure.
And so I think they just went full blown.
Yeah.
Like
This
vampires
temptation.
are sexy.
Yeah.
Temptation. Like one of my favorite vampire movies of all time is The Lost Boys, and there's still some of that.
There's vampires in that.
There are.
Oh, I've never seen that.
You ever seen The Lost Boys?
I thought it was about like teens and.
That's Stand By Me.
Oh.
Both have Kiefer Sutherland in it.
Oh, I've seen Stand By Me. Was great.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyways, sorry.
Um,
Didn't know it was a vampire movie.
Yeah, The Lost Boys, great vampire movie. But there's still the allure of like, there's something inherently like confident, or they're always themselves, or just like there's something like seductive about being a vampire. I mean, even like the Twilight, there's something about
the allure of a vampire.
Yeah, like you kind of get sucked in.
Yeah, to like the fear and the.
I just think Francis Ford Coppola was like, let's just like make sure we leave no stone unturned. Let's go. Let's make sure everyone knows.
I really need Gary Oldman's chest to be a vital part of this movie. And that's a rock
What's weird
I'm
to
willing
think
to
about
turn multiple
is that
times.
Gary Oldman is about as old as I am when he made this movie.
No way. He looks way older than that.
No, mid-30s.
My man looks 80.
So he might be like,
kidding.
well, yeah, at some parts. Like he plays an old guy really well for a 35-year-old man.
But even when he's in in London, and I'm like, this guy's like 50.
No.
But maybe that's because like I know Gary Oldman.
No,
as
he's
the Gary
50 when
Oldman
he
now.
made Dark Knight, probably.
Whoa.
You know? It's crazy to think about.
Man, maybe it's just the last name because I think he always looks older.
Well,
than
and I
he
think
actually
the
is.
last few roles you've known him in, he's very like Sirius Black.
Yeah.
I mean, actually, he kind of looks like Sirius Black from Harry Potter in the when he's like trying
in
to
London.
meet
Yeah.
in London.
I think he looks younger in Sirius Black than in this movie. Yeah.
And I mean, that's the point, right? I mean, he's supposed to still be 400 years old.
Yeah,
or
that's
whatever.
fair. That's fair.
Because when you enter in, I would have guessed that that's not like a middle-aged man playing an old guy. I would just think that that's an old guy.
Exactly. Yeah.
So he really did the thing. I respect it a lot. Okay, so movies mid.
Yeah.
Let's talk about. Have you seen any other versions of Dracula? Read any other versions of Dracula that you feel you would like to mention during this episode?
Well, I did read the book.
Yes.
And I can squarely say I have enjoyed the book more than this movie. And
Oh wow. Nerd.
I think the book's just better than the movie. I really liked the book. It gave me especially near the end where they're like gearing up to fight this almost like because Dracula doesn't even play that big of a role in the book. He's like kind of like you go and visit him in the castle, but then you do all the London stuff and you hear like the tales of Dracula almost, where it's like he like gets Lucy and gets these people, and it almost feels like this unknown entity, which I enjoyed a lot about the book. And as they're gearing up to fight this like forbidden unknown entity, it felt very similar to it, in that it is this like unfathomable monster, and how do we defeat it kind of thing. And you're like gearing up the team, you're getting everybody together. And it's like there was even lines in the book where it's like we have to all do it like as a team together, where like it is like it's the kids, and if we're like us strong, then we can defeat it. And I think I've probably remember vaguely somewhere of like Stephen King saying there's some kind of Dracula influences on it. Sure. Besides that, I have like just vague cultural touch points with a lot of vampire movies, besides like Twilight, where like the guy in the black and white movie with the coat and the hair and like the guy and the I will suck your blood. And I feel like it's always in the back of like your mind. Like, okay, vampire, cool. Like garlic, can't come out at night.
Yeah.
Stab it through the heart with a wooden stake, kind of stuff. Like it's just like in the cultural conscience. But I actually don't think I've seen like this is probably the most vampire movie I've seen.
I should give you some Rex.
Yeah,
I'll take care of you.
Like I didn't see like what's what's the one? Like there's werewolves and vampires, and okay, that was very
Underworld?
important. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
they-
yeah.
so I actually feel like I just haven't, besides like Twilight, I haven't seen a lot of vampires.
Still something.
That's still something. Or like what True Blood is like
Yeah, I
that
never watched
show,
that.
like stuff like that. Like I just really have no experience with vampires actually.
Fair enough.
Besides like, but I know a lot about vampires.
Yeah.
What about you? You seem like you know you're Mr. the Vampire over here. Over the shades. Do a little.
Dracula, I wouldn't necessarily say I've seen a better Dracula on screen. He can sometimes play in a more supporting role, particularly in one of my favorite monster movies, Van Helsing. I don't know if we'll end up watching that.
What? I thought that was on the list.
I do want to have it on the list, but a part of me feels like we're just going to be talking about what we're talking about tonight.
Okay.
And so maybe it's not worth spending a whole episode on.
Got it.
I do want to watch it with you, though.
Cool.
I think you'll love it.
Let's do it.
But I think it would be kind of just treading over
The same territory.
It's kind of like talking about the Avengers, but we'd already done an episode on Cap and Iron Man.
Got
it's
it.
like, okay, well, it's just, you want to talk about Cap and Iron Man
Again,
teaming up? I
yeah.
guess. Cool.
Yeah.
But in Van Helsing, he plays kind of like the villain of it, whereas you're following more of the protagonist. Whereas I feel in this film, I would argue you're following Dracula just as much as you're following the protagonist. Yeah. And I think he thinks that he is the protagonist of the whole movie. So I like that. I did watch Dracula Untold.
Oh, I did see that actually.
A few years back, and I think they tried to tie it into this movie.
Really?
I think it was supposed to have at least some ties, like his war, like fighting and stuff, and I think even his armor was supposed to be kind of similar.
Yeah.
Like the dragon was like a big part of his lore.
Yeah.
But then I think by the end of it, it was like he does end up at the end of Dracula Untold, he like finds the girl who looks like his wife that died because he became a vampire.
Okay.
So it kind of plays on the whole like Mina thing, but I don't think it was
Like touches that goes that far.
it wasn't necessarily like the whole like I'm gonna take Harker
Yeah.
hostage and try to find his fiance.
Got it. I just remember a big old swarm of bats in that movie.
Yes, he does get some baddie powers.
Yeah.
But even that introduction of him is, even though he loses his wife, it all culminates by him still getting bit by a vampire in a cave.
Got it.
You know, so like he's not the original. I feel like sometimes Dracula is considered like the original vampire.
Got it.
And in this movie
He
in
is.
particular,
Yeah.
he is. He can make other vampires, and that's always been interesting too. Is I feel like that's sometimes a big part of vampire movies, is how you become one. There's always different changes to it. This one's particularly hard. Like you can be bit and grow ill, but until you drink the blood of a vampire, you can't fully fuse and become one like that. And that's similar in some movies, but in other movies it's like, oh, you got bit, it's like a zombie bite. It's like, you either need to die or don't touch holy water, you're just gonna like disintegrate. And then there's ones where there's a particularly I like this take on vampires. There's a couple good older these would be like 2000-y movies. I don't have the specific years, but I think it was called Daybreakers.
Okay.
It's Ethan Hawke is a vampire.
Nice. Good start.
A plague took over the world, so it's like modern day take on vampires, and everyone kind of became like low on like blood content, so they had to basically become vampires to survive.
To get like more blood from people?
Yes. Whoa. However, given that humans are a limited resource, the vampires like went ham at first, and then they're like, oh wait, we're gonna run out of blood. So they start farming people. So they're like, hey, I'm gonna like just suck on your arm for
Take
like
a
a
little
little bit, and I'll just have like
come back.
lunch.
Yeah.
Can you go repopulate the human race, and then we'll just kind of like farm you guys, and whatever. But Ethan Hawke, at some point, has an experimental procedure or is like exposed to sunlight in such a way that he actually is healed of his vampiric abilities and actually becomes fully human again, but no one knows it, so he has to be like an inside man. So he's like a pig led to the slaughter in the midst of a bunch of vampires. Really cool take.
Interesting. I like that.
I don't remember if Dracula's actually in it because I don't think there's like there's
there's
like
Mr.
a
Dracula
CEO
comes in.
vampire
Yeah.
probably, but I
Yeah.
don't think there's like but yeah, dude, vampires are interesting.
Yeah.
It's I think it runs in the same line as like, I think you got your zombies, your werewolves, your vampires.
Classic.
I mean, there's a classic like, how does this one change? Like same with werewolves but this particular Dracula, because they honed in more on like the demonic like bestiality like side to it.
With a different kind of tone to it.
Yeah. Or is bestiality the right word? No, that means you're like doing stuff with the beast, right?
Beastly
That
nature
is in this movie,
or something.
technically.
I don't know. I know what you're saying.
But yeah, he was more on the beast side
Yeah.
of
the man in the beast.
And so like at one point I think they even name drop like he was in his werewolf form.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, or he can be a wolf.
Yeah. There's a lot of wolf imagery too, or it's like,
Yeah.
the wolves
And so
attacking our dogs.
it's not just bat-centric vampires.
Yeah.
So he can kind of be a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
I prefer obviously like one or the other. Like I like when the werewolf like comes out and is like, this is my curse or whatever. But he kind of is like, I need to run fast, werewolf mode.
Wolf time, yeah.
It's like, or like I need to fly, bat mode. You know, like he kind of
Or
can
scurry
morph
away,
into whatever.
rat mode.
Yeah, million rats.
Million rats.
Yeah. That was a cool take when they're like, "Oh, keep the light on, keep the light on," and then they don't. So
I thought that scene was actually pretty good too.
I think that's the only. There's like only like 2 CGI scenes.
Oh, really?
I think that's the first. They're like, and they're both like really towards the end of the movie.
Yeah.
And so it's like a silhouette, and then turns into
Yeah, that was cool.
a million
And like the
rats.
red eyes in the darkness, like that stuff creeps me out. I thought that was really well done, and like seeing him in like his like basically demonic form, I'm like this is spooky.
Yeah.
That stuff gets me.
Well, and I think the scary part about that is because he's invisible sometimes, like that part when Mina's becoming a vampire, you're seeing her and she's interacting with nothing.
Yeah.
But then they shine the light and he's actually over here and he's in bat form. Or like Lucy, I remember at one point, it's like getting her blood drained from her.
it's
And
like
then
the
like the
werewolf.
blood drips
Yeah.
across the floor, but they don't see anything.
Yeah.
So you're like, what form is he in? Like, is he
Yeah.
always in bat mode? But
Yes.
he can just show us who he,
Exactly,
you know, like,
sure.
is he always demon like looking? But like, in order just to keep us going, like, it'd be interesting to see, what he actually was like when he's walking around London
Sure.
downtown. Is
Is
he
he
really
actually
just
like that?
slimy Batman?
Yeah.
And then
Just giving off.
has a top hat,
Yeah.
just like whatever. Yeah, so the Master of Disguise element's very cool.
Yeah.
I did respect that a lot
Yeah,
on
definitely.
this iteration of that. Whereas I feel like sometimes you see the Widow's Peak, like stereotypical.
Like,
right?
oh.
Kind of feel like that's Dracula.
Yeah.
You know?
It almost takes it to a serious extent. Where it's like, okay, we know that this is kind of dramatic and goofy, but like, what if we lean into it where it's like real and scary and like, yeah, what if you saw like a 6-foot bat-like creature? Like you're not having a good time.
Yeah. A lot of poop in your pants.
Yeah.
A lot.
A lot. I will say I actually thought about more vampire content that I've seen that I actually forgot that I've seen.
Okay.
And 2 of them are probably some of my favorite things. One is the Impact Winter book that
Excellent.
Nick recommended to me.
about to
Still
drop.
need to watch or listen. It's an audiobook. It's like an audio play.
Audio drama.
Audio
I think
drama
is
is the correct term. Which is like set in a world where there's like a meteor and it blocks out the sun with all the ash that's in the sky, but there's already vampires around. They just can come out now. that the sun is blocked.
The daylight is not there.
And so like it feels more just like, hey, vampires, and what happens if you become a vampire, and not necessarily like old timey. Like this feels like dirty and like gothic. I think the gothic nature lends to vampires, where this is like, what if vampires and there's like you like need to also like eat food, and it's like a apocalypse kind of thing. So it's a different take.
Yeah.
And then the other one was Midnight Mass.
Oh, 100%.
Which is like excellent
Great
Netflix show. Which like that like vampire form is the one that always makes me really scary.
That is a very scary. And I think that's safe to say that that's probably Dracula. I mean, of that world. Yeah. It doesn't seem like
an ancient evil or whatever is basically what they mentioned.
But it would have been interesting if like one person could have made it, so we could have seen the transformation, because no one ever really moved from just kind of human bloodsucker to
like the
winged
full
boy.
Oh, dude. See, like that, like I don't know, something about like the skinny, lanky, but like bony. Oh yeah, it messes me up. For sure. It messes me up. And then the eyes, dude. Oh, it gets me. It gets me.
Oh yeah, Midnight Mass was excellent.
Yeah.
We've talked about it on this podcast.
Yeah,
probably like episode 60 something.
Yeah. Check it out. Check it out. It was a while ago.
It's close though. I think it's somewhere in 60.
I got to rewatch that now that it's spooky season.
Yes.
Final thoughts.
Yeah.
If you have any more.
No, you go ahead.
I think Anthony Hopkins
100%
has not been mentioned, and that would be a crime if we do not mention how this man literally ate every scene that he was in.
Hot off the heels of
Silence of the Lambs. Yeah.
Dude. I was just like, hey, can I just say some weird stuff instead of vampires? And they're like, yep.
I already like did a movie about cannibals, so like, what about
Num?
What about different nums?
That's right.
He was him and Geraldman hands down the best.
Nice.
In this movie.
Very cool.
Literally, no crumbs, no drops.
I agree.
No drops of blood left.
Yeah, I don't think Anthony Hopkins. I don't even know what you would criticize. It was just he has that like ancient kind of like knowledge, and when he finally gets to like come out of his shell a little bit, it's like, hey, I don't have to be smart because I've been focusing on this for my entire life. My arch nemesis is at hand. Huzzah!
Yeah,
and you're just like, oh, I kind of like this.
Yeah, I love that. He's goofy, but also like, we chopped up her head on, and I'm like,
what are we gonna do? It's like, well, gonna stab her in the heart and chop her head off. And like, she died 5 minutes ago.
Like, dude,
read the room.
I'm like, but I love that though. It was so good.
That's another creepy scene when Lucy is full vampire mode. She's just bringing down a little girl that she's about to. Like, this movie does not shy away from like the horror. I think even Dracula at one point, like both victims that didn't end up being shown too much on screen were like children being eaten by vampires, and it's like, whoa, you're going. Oh,
there was like a baby. Yeah, that was
when the brides couldn't have Harker for the rest of the night.
Oh yeah. Oh, dude. Yeah, and we're supposed to like be sympathetic to this dude.
I know.
Hey, here's a baby.
Yep. He's like, hey, whoa, I need that guy. Which I don't even know why. He's like, I'm gonna go get his wife or whatever. It's like, what do you even need him alive?
I don't know. Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah, dude. It's wild.
Wow. Great experience.
Yeah. Experience is definitely what this movie
I don't think I'll apologize.
No, nor should you.
Because we're going to watch it at some point.
Yeah.
It would have eventually.
It was on my list. It was on my list to watch.
I now own it on YouTube.
Oh.
Because that's how I had to watch it.
Good.
I thought it was on HBO or something. It was not. So I had to spend $7.99.
No.
I regret nothing.
No.
I sat outside, smoked a cigar while watching it, and
like on a projector or something, or like on your phone. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good memory.
And I think a lot of people love this movie because it is what you and I would say is a vibe.
Oh, it's 100% a vibe.
It's just a vibe. Yeah. So you just gotta like
sink your fangs into it.
If you just want to have a good laugh, go on IMDb and just read reviews about this movie. It's just hilarious. Like, so many people are just like, I was drunk one night and I finally watched this movie. Holy shit, it's good. It's like, that was it.
That just gives off, that's the energy of the person who likes this movie.
You just need to kind of be like, do you want to be entertained or do you want to have to like think about stuff? If you don't want to think, man,
It's a specific type of movie.
it's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's all over the place, but it's good.
Yeah.
But it's very like artistically like
It's artistically messy.
risky.
Yeah.
And I feel like in that or bold, artistically bold. And because of that, there's just something that it leaves you with where you're just like, I watched something different tonight. And that's kind of what I was hoping for with this series is like, what made this stand out? Why is this monster so good?
Yeah.
And so I mean, I don't think you can have a list of monsters and not talk about
No,
Dracula.
I think if we were doing monster movies, this is one of the movies we have to watch.
Yeah.
Like hands down. I do not regret watching this movie whatsoever.
Me neither.
Would I recommend it? Maybe. I don't know.
To a select few. I
Yeah.
don't think it's... I've said some pretty crazy things on this podcast. I've even said things like, I think people shouldn't die without watching Ted Lasso.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do I still agree with that? Probably.
Yeah.
I think you can not watch this and
Yeah.
die and still have lived a good life. I feel strongly about
I think
that.
you can not watch this and die.
Yeah. I think... Yeah, I think
Oh,
I
yeah.
feel good about that.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think that's a fair bet.
But yeah, a lot of good honorable mentions for like good vampire content.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
the other one I was gonna say was 30 Days of Night. I want to go back and watch that.
Okay.
That guy was getting popular again. He was just in Trap. Harkman? No. Josh Harkman?
Yeah.
Hartman?
Hartman. No,
Hartman,
Josh.
maybe.
The guy. The
Yeah.
young guy who
He's
was
been
like...
he kind of like took a break.
Yeah.
And then he did like Penny Dreadful and now he's doing a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah.
And he's getting big again. He was in that. 30 Days of Night is excellent. Very like...
Josh Hutcherson? Is that it? Is that a different guy?
Oh, no. No, the guy I'm talking about is... you'd recognize him if I showed you.
Oh, okay.
But it's very much like the... Kind of like 28 Days Later.
Yeah,
Like,
but-
you get bit, you're blood-sucking
You're a
vampire, but it's like almost like diseased style. Like, it's not...
It's not good.
And that's... it is fun when they kind of cross those lines because sometimes the vampire thing is just like, what if you just have no inhibition? You know, and I think that's what Dracula's trying to do is like,
Yeah.
hey, you're free. It's like, I mean, sometimes that leads to basically like, no, you're just a slave to everything. You know, like you're just a slave to, I need sustenance now. I have to go kill something. You know,
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, you're free because you have no moral like compass. But that's the allude to it is like there's a part of you that thinks maybe if I could just get out of this like
This
moral
cycle or
conundrum,
whatever, yeah.
I would be okay. And it's like, never ends well.
Yeah.
Never ends well.
Never ends well.
So, but I'll tell you what does end well. Us on a Thursday night,
Amen.
recording some just hot content.
Hot content.
Yeah, 100%
Yeah.
hot content.
That's right here. Certified fresh.
Certified fresh. Like us, subscribe to us. If you don't want to, totally fine.
Yeah.
Like, we just love you. And it would be cool if you did that, but like, we'll still love you.
Yeah.
You probably have heard of Dracula since it's been out for over 30 years now. But now you've heard about Dracula from us.
Heard.
Not Us United.
Heard, Jeff.
All right. Catch you next time.
Catch you next.
Peace.
You've just listened to Not Us United. You can find us under Not Us United on Spotify, iTunes, and YouTube. Please leave us a review and consider subscribing to our podcast. You can reach out for future podcast topic suggestions at notusunitedpod@gmail.com.